Hi everyone, my name's Brian, and I wanted to go over the interface on the new Dish Network VIP-922 Slingloaded receiver. The reason why I'm making this video is because prior to getting this receiver I had a really hard time trying to find information on it, specifically the different software features. So I kind of made it a point that after I would get it I would post some information that I couldn't find previous to getting it, which I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this receiver. I haven't had any issues with it, but without further ado, I'll go ahead and go through the different aspects of this receiver. First off, this is the main menu that when you push menu button on the remote, you're presented with this graphical interface here. By using the arrow keys, you can flip through the different selections. First off is the guide. Now the big difference between this receiver and the 722 that I used to have is it's got the channel logos, graphical channel logos on the left, and which makes it a lot more easy to find the channel that you're looking for. Another big improvement is how fast the menu scrolls by. When I hold the down arrow on my remote, it starts to scroll, and as you can see, it goes very quickly and there's no pause. It'll scroll till I let go. So I'm pretty impressed with that. I can scroll through all my channels very easily. Next, if I push the red button, you'll see right now it says all my channels. I have went through and selected my favorite channels, which I've named Brian. So by selecting that selection, it's going to go through and highlight my favorite channels, which I guess different members of your household could have their own favorite channel list, and they wouldn't have to view the other channels that the other family members like. So that's that. I do find that the format's very easy to read. The text is easy to read, which is a big bonus also. Going to menu, it goes into the on-demand feature. This menu item obviously is to watch on-demand movies or TV shows. I've had the receiver a couple of days. Nothing's been loaded on there yet. Dish Online. Again, this is where you go through and select your different movies that you can download on Dish Online. There is no image available. This user interface on this receiver is very graphic. I mean, there's different icons which you'll see, which makes it easier to navigate. Next up is My Media DVR. This is going to show your recorded programs. As you can see, each show has the channel icon in which it was recorded off of. In this case, ESPN2, Science Channel, Showtime HD, so on and so forth. Now you can group these items into folders, and you select your folders by title, folders by theme, or your own folders here. I have two folders set up here. A house folder, which has all my different shows from a certain channel, Home and Garden TV, in. You can name your folders anything you want. So it makes for great organization. Moving right along is our settings button. Now here we have, it goes into another group of icons, your parental controls, which you can turn on and off, set up your TV restrictions. This is where you can restrict movie ratings, other ratings, adult channels, hidden, purchasing, whether or not, say your kids can purchase pay-per-view, you can restrict that to a password. Quite handy if your kids like to charge up your bill. Series timer defaults, that tells you, okay, in this case I'm starting 1 minute early and it's going to end 3 minutes late. This is in order to alleviate those problems where your show's started, already recording, and the show's already started. So next is your remote control option. This is really neat feature here. Rather than have to look up codes, all you have to do is let it know who the manufacturer is on your TV, and it will automatically find the remote. It was actually very easy to set up. I've got a Samsung Plasma, and I selected Samsung for the brand, and it set it up. I didn't have to know any codes or anything like that, which was quite impressive. Closed captioning does what you would think. Sets up your closed captioning. Alternate audio, that's going to set up whether or not for your SAP programs what language. Caller ID, I don't have my receiver set into a caller ID or a telephone, so I don't use that, but you can set it up. Guide display, you can set up your channel ascending or descending, HD channels for preference, or HD and SD channels. Your favorite channels, this is where I set up my list earlier. I showed you where my favorite channels were listed, and it looks like you can have 4 different lists. Next is a mode reminder. I'm not sure exactly what that does. You have some tips. Those pop up occasionally and let you know different features of the receiver. Your screen adjustment, that will allow you to adjust your screen in case it's being chopped off. Your HD, in this case I've got it set up a 1080i television, 16:9 aspect ratio. Your broadband setup, that's where you go in and it allows you to configure your internet connection. Of course, this receiver requires an internet connection. It also has a USB wireless function, which isn't selectable. System updates, I've got this receiver set up so we're daily at 3 a.m. it phones home and checks for updates for the receiver. A modulator setup. This receiver evidently doesn't come with an antenna hookup, outside antenna. You have to buy it separately from Dish. I guess they figured out a way to make some more money that way. Audio decoder, pulse coded modulation, Dolby Digital, and volume leveling. Your cursor, you can have large, medium, or small cursor and set up the different colors, like red. Now I've got a red cursor. Phone line setup, phone type. Wow, I didn't even know anybody had rotary phones anymore. If you have a rotary phone, you're good to go. Your Dish comm, we're not going to get into that. That's something that I've never used. Local channel, this is your over-the-air mode. Again, you have to buy the little module for it. Shared view. This has to do for your TV2 feature, which we're not using on this receiver. Record Plus, that I've never used Record Plus. I do know that it allows you to interface with a VCR, is what I've seen those on. You can go back to factory defaults with that setting, and diagnostics. You can test your connection, call out view counters, send status to Dish, HDMI status, just a whole bunch of technical information that hopefully I'll never have to dig into too much. See if I can get okay, my account, obviously you can go in and look at your account settings. It's all very neat. And manage your account from there. We won't go into there because I don't want it to display my. You can add programming, view your statement, pay your bill, or help. Next you have weather. Weather's the where it goes online on the internet and it can give you your forecast. Yeah, I'm in Ardmore, Oklahoma. So there's my temperature right now is 50 degrees. You can do a current forecast. You can bring up weather maps and so on. Home media. This feature interested me quite a bit because of my other media I have. As you can see, I've got an iMac with a PS3 media server playing on it. So that is forget the name of it, a HMDB. It's just basically a media server that you run on your external computer that's hooked up to the same network. If I click on that, it's going to show me my shares and my folders. So if I move down here to users, my folder, desktop, I've got a movie here that I have ripped off a DVD as a backup, and it's going to transcode it, it's going to send it over wireless in network, and it's going to play through my Dish receiver. As you can see, the picture quality is outstanding. I was very impressed by this feature. This allows me to take all my backed up movies and play them through my Dish receiver. Well, who knows, I might not need that boxy box now. Next is the sling feature. The sling feature, basically what this does is it's got a sling built into this. My old 722 would allow a TV2 out, which would basically drive two televisions separately. Well, they've taken that out and replaced it with a sling, and it allows me to go onto the internet and watch content I've recorded on the VIP-922 and on my iPhone. So I can watch recorded programs on my iPhone and watch them hopefully on my iPad soon. I hadn't got it to work on my iPad, but my iPhone works great, and I was able to watch some of my recorded programs. It's actually a pretty neat feature. This is it's the main selling feature of this receiver, it seems. Next, you can go through purchase history, which will take you through the purchases, pay-per-view purchase. Caller ID, again, I don't have a phone set up. Broadband setup, already went through that earlier. And my media transfer. Basically what this is that if you have a external receiver, external hard drive that you want that you have media on recorded, say on an old dish, you can actually transfer it onto the hard drive of this recorder or this satellite receiver. Another couple of things I wanted to talk about was the remote, which it's a standard Dish remote. It's very nice, doesn't have any more buttons. I won't even bother showing it. And that's about it. The picture quality is very good on this receiver. No complaints there. Overall, I'm very happy with it. If you got any questions about some of the capabilities or would like me to answer anything before you jump off the deep end and buy this receiver, it does cost $200 on top of if you want to upgrade. So if you got any questions or would like me to try something out, just let me know. Thanks, and hope y'all have a good one.